Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm with Nata and we're going to be discussing the top 5 things about living in Portugal. And stay until the end of the video where we'll discuss 2 disadvantages and drawbacks of actually living here. Let's get into the video. So point number 1 is local markets. I absolutely love local markets here and getting fresh produce on Sundays, and sometimes they do it on Wednesdays as well, depending on which region you're living in. You get incredibly fresh produce, organic, from local Portuguese farmers there, and it's amazing. You have, vegetable markets, you have fish markets, anything you can imagine, and it's really fantastic. What do you think about it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everything is local, everything is produced here. You have so many, farmers and things like that. So yeah, it's great. So point number 2 is location and accessibility. It's really great being in this part of Europe. You can travel everywhere super easy. Flights are incredibly cheap. We travel often, all the time, to see our friends and family in the UK, in Europe, wherever you go. It's very easily accessible. And if you want to travel to the States, it's also quite easy. You have direct flights, either from Lisbon now, from Faro as well soon. So yeah, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, both internally and internationally. So within Portugal, it's very easy to get around, whether you want to drive or you want to take public transport, such as the train goes really efficiently through the Algarve to Lisbon to Porto. It's very quick, straight train. It's very new and modern. I enjoy taking it all the time. You also have buses, which are in fantastic condition. So just getting around on public transport is incredibly easy in Portugal. And then internationally, as Nata mentioned, it's super easy and very cost effective and efficient here. So, the location is fantastic on the western side of Europe. So point number 3 is English is very widely spoken here. So you can go to pretty much any of the major cities and get around with English very easily. Now, of course, if you're moving here, living here full time, I definitely suggest picking up some Portuguese, but it's good to know that if you're moving from the US or the UK or anywhere else for that matter, you can get around on English, which makes it very easy to integrate with the Portuguese and the communities that you're in. So it's fantastic that you have the ability to do that.
For sure, and I mean, Portuguese is a beautiful language, so I think.
Yeah.
It's nice to pick some Portuguese.
Absolutely.
But you're right, everywhere we go, people speak English. And even though sometimes we try to speak Portuguese because we want to practice it, people end up speaking English back to us because they want to practice their English. But
yeah, that's very common in the Algarve. They all want to speak English and be very international here, as a lot of the trade is in English. So it's very important that they speak very clear and good English. So when I moved here, I didn't speak Portuguese, and it was very easy for me to get around and kind of immerse myself in the culture and just, move around with ease, go to restaurants, order in English, or speak to many, many different Portuguese people because they speak great English, that, I didn't feel alone here. It was very easy to connect with people, which, I understand the feeling if you're coming from a foreign country like the UK or US, that you could, end up feeling alone and scared to interact with everybody because you don't speak their native language, but I definitely didn't have that experience.
So point number 4 is that Portugal is incredibly family friendly. And in general, people are super nice and friendly here. Whenever you need to ask directions or anything, really, they're always, eager to help you. And in terms of if you have kids, it's always super nice. You can go to any playground, you can meet, moms and dads and kids. Everyone's incredibly nice and open to meet, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are very family orientated. Sundays are definitely family time for many, many Portuguese. They really make sure that they're spending enough time with their family, and they have, that work-life balance definitely in the right area, I believe, compared to many Western countries. They really make sure they have the time for their family. And as you said, everybody's super friendly. I actually grew up here for many years when I was younger, went to school, so everybody's really friendly. You can interact with any of the parents, they'll help you out, they'll do anything. You're really when you're in the certain area or town, you're part of their family, and I definitely feel that, quite strongly here. So point number 5 is the low crime rate in Portugal. It feels incredibly safe here. You can see from the statistics of how unbelievably safe Portugal is, but you definitely feel it when you live here. I've never felt any time where I feel, unsecure about where I live or when walking at a certain time at night. No matter where I am in Portugal, it feels just as safe everywhere, which is so important, and pretty much the #1 criteria why people should move to a country like Portugal, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even comparing it to any major big cities that I've had experience of living in, you always feel a little bit unsafe when you go out at night or when you're, I don't know, a girl alone walking. But here you don't have that really at all. I mean, you should always be careful, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Of course. But yeah, in comparison to other cities, it's super safe.
Yeah, especially if you're raising a family, you know, it's the number one most important thing is taking care of your family and knowing that they're safe all the time. And here, you don't have that stress of wondering if they're going to be okay or if you can let them out at this time and if you should be supervising them all the time. You can really just allow your kids to kind of explore and, you know, have more freedom here because it is so incredibly safe. Now, not everything about Portugal is sunshine and rainbows. There are some drawbacks and we're going to discuss two right now.
So the first drawback is the pace of life. So of course, if you are used to a big city life, like, you know, New York, London, whatever, then it's quite a big difference. Here it's more, I would say, chilled, relaxed. Here it's, especially if you're living in the Algarve. But even in Lisbon, in comparison to other cities, it's more relaxed. And you, of course, have, you know, in Lisbon or Porto, of course, you have things like, you know, art exhibitions and things going on. But if you compare it to other cities, it's definitely more calm. And in the Algarve, there's not so much going on at all. So that's a big change for people that want that city life.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the type of person that you are. If you are, you know, a city dweller that really wants to be living in a high-paced environment, then Portugal may not be the right option for you. And I really suggest, you know, trying it out for a short period of time and see if you can find the right things that you like to do. For example, we both live in the Algarve and we absolutely love it, even though previously you lived in a big city before. So, you know, it just depends. You need to find what activities you like doing, how you can find that work-life balance or the balance of life that you want to live and lead. So it's just, you know, testing out and really making sure that you're making the right decision before jumping the deep end too quickly.
For sure. And even now, I feel like when I go to visit a big city like London, it feels like so much because I'm already used to a more calm lifestyle here in the Algarve. So when we go to London, it definitely feels a different pace for sure.
Yeah, I get that big time, for sure.
Another drawback is bureaucracy that can be very long and challenging here. Of course, you do have that in other cities, but for example, from my own experience coming from a big city, I was actually very surprised how long and challenging it is here with everything you have to do, starting with número de utente, contribuente. There's so many different numbers that you have to have in order to get any kind of document, and then,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can be long. I think you would have heard this before if you watched any other videos that people definitely struggle with this. A lot of stuff isn't actually even digital. A lot of the stuff is done physically on paper and actually put into filing cabinets. So yeah, it's older system here. It doesn't work quite as efficiently as some other Western countries and other countries in the world. So, you know, be prepared for that. But it's not a big drawback that should, you know, push you and sway you either way. It's just a small section in the beginning that you have to deal with, but after you get through that, you know, you never notice it. It never comes up in my life or plays any significance. If you are interested in moving to Portugal, then you can hit the first link in the description below and book a free call with us, Portugal buyers, and we can assist you through any aspect of moving to Portugal. So I look forward to seeing you there, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.